Hey, Rev. I told you you had to listen really closely for this guy.
Watch yourself, Hal.
Yeah.
Watch
Anyway,
yourself.
we're gonna wrap things up in a little bit, but I want to mention a little story of Reverend Kraft. It was in September of 2016. Governor LePage of Maine left a message on a state rep, a Democrat state rep's phone. It was a message that he should not have left. It was not exactly wholesome. The man had called him a racist, and it made national news. And Reverend down in New Jersey. Now, Paul LePage has a good policy on many issues, and he did apologize, and they was contemplating resigning. So Reverend Kraft called me up and he said, Hallie, I just wrote a letter to LePage. You know, I read it. He says, I'm going to send it to him, encouraging him. You know, it's too bad you said what you said, but do not resign. I like your position on the drug issue and so forth and so on. So I said, well, Rev, I have some friends about five-minute drive from the Capitol. Send me the letter. I'll have it on his desk in the morning. I said, but tell you what, I have to run an errand. I have to go to Augusta. Next week. Can you come up? We'll have a press conference at the State House. I said, probably nobody will show up, but we'll have some good fellowship. And I had a friend who was an Amtrak conductor. We get a free ride to, get him on the train.
Put me on the Excel.
So I did my news release, and I get Revs on the way up. I get a call from the Portland Press-Herald. It was in the afternoon, and he interviewed me. And on the way up, it was at night, we're driving up, we're spending the night at a friend's house. A friend called me, he said, you guys made the Bangor Daily News. And then we go online at Bangor Daily News, the Kennebec Journal, and this paper and that paper. I said, I got a funny feeling we're going to have a few people at this press conference. Well, we get to the State House, and they're taking pictures of we putting our belts on through security, right? The place was full of media. Reporters, newspapers, TV stations, and Reverend Kraft gets up there and he said this great line. I think I fed you the line, but you said it better. If you don't know what I have to say, there's the door. Get up and leave.
That's what I told the reporter.
He said, I know some of you have never been in church before. Well, you're at church now.
That's what I told him. That's just what I told him. That's just what I told him.
He didn't need a PA system. And then he closed by saying, he was talking about LePage. And he said, he's about forgiving. He said, go. He said, Polly, baby. He said, and he stopped. You use your right foot, Molly. He said, go and sin no more and keep your mouth shut.
That's what I told him.
And then I was supposed to drop something off at LePage's office. And one of the chief security guard came in. He said, if you start a church up here, I'm going to be your first member. They just loved it. So we had friends where we never really expected. So so it's about 15 minutes after some more interviews and we walk to the governor's office, and there are all the cameras kind of trying to sandbag us. Like we're going to meet with the governor, and that wasn't on the agenda. So, and that particular presentation is on our YouTube channel. We have a playlist, and if you put down Reverend Stevie Kraft, you see all of his interviews and his presentations. So anyway, I want to talk a little bit about Camp Constitution before we close, and some of the great things. We've had an incredible year. We still have another 4 weeks of this year, so we get some other things going on. I've been very busy traveling around the region. I got a call 2 days ago. Someone wants to be speaking Chattanooga. I said Tennessee. I said let's do it. And yesterday we were tentatively invited to the Sudan. I said I don't know. If God wants me into Sudan to promote, and one of the things that I want to promote if I do go to the Sudan is something that transcends all borders. It's the Sam Blumenfeld Archive, something that we're very proud of. Sam was a dear friend of many in this room. He was an instructor at Camp Constitution. He figured this out in early 1960s, why we've been deliberately dumbed down, and he did something about it. And when he passed away, he left us his library and his papers and some incredible things, thanks to some talented people that work with Camp Constitution. Our webmaster, Eric Conover, and Mark Affleck, our newspaper editor, created this great resource. It's all free. Now, we say free, that means money has to keep it up, but it's free to anyone who wants to use it. But if you want to help make donations, that's fine too. You can teach people how to read the way they were supposed to read, phonetically. You have his Alpha Phonics, free of charge, all 128 lessons. In audio and video, thanks to my good friend Bill McNally, who sat Sam down in the studio about 10 years ago. His about maybe two weeks worth of his speeches. I mean, when I say weeks, I mean 24/7. You can listen to it for 2 whole weeks. Download it, upload it on your websites. We're not going to ration bullets. We have people in South Africa using this information. People in other parts of the world. Last year we got 2 million views. That doesn't mean 2 million people. We had 75,000 downloads of his Alpha Phonics. I think that's maybe more he sold in his in hard copy. That's a lot of people, and 75,000 means it might be 10 people each using that. How many people are going to learn how to read because of our little organization? So please spread that out. Let people know about it. You see the banner over there. Another thing that we had I was in the City Hall Plaza in Boston. Reverend Bruce Wall, who's an inner city minister, was having a prayer meeting at the mayor's office. Now the mayor wasn't participating. The last place that Mayor Walsh will be when there's righteous people meeting is someplace else. So we had a meeting, and we had blacks, Hispanics, even some white people were there, including me. And it was a very, and the Bible tells us to pray for leaders. So it wasn't a political event.
Right.
And on the way out, I see the rainbow flag flying on the City Hall Plaza, which I know it flies there. This was June, celebrating that riot in the bar in the lower Manhattan.
Still.
And 5 years ago, we did raise the Gadsden flag at City Hall Plaza, public access flag. I said, you know something? We need to raise the Christian flag. Let people know that there is a remnant here in Boston, and we need to encourage them. And we plan to do it on the week of the Constitution Day, September 17th. Coincidentally, the city of Boston was founded on that same day, September 17th. So I put in a permit, and the permit, I actually called the lady that was in charge of the permit process. And the permit isn't, well, we don't want you because we don't like you. It's supposed to say, okay, well, there's another group a day or coming in. So I gave her some time, some dates and such. It took about a month. Usually it's about 2 or 3 days. And I finally got an answer in an email. It's a violation of the separation of church and state in this email. And coincidentally, the city of Boston, their official seal, has a Bible verse from the Old Testament, from Kings, you know. May God favor us as he favored our forefathers. Well, how can God favor us if we reject him?
Right.
But it's on the flagpole on the city. It's also on their City Hall flag. So they denied the permit. So I did a news release. And the lady I was on the phone with, Mayor Menino's, the late Mayor Menino's daughter-in-law, she said, this isn't the end of it. So she was sympathetic. So I did a news release. And of course, every daily newspaper in Boston was on my doorstep. No, they ignored crickets. When they don't call you, that's them ignoring you, you know. Well, a friend of mine, Lynn Roberts, she's known by some of you in this room, she got a hold of me and she said, get a hold of Liberty Counsel, which is an organization that handles cases like ours, pro bono. And within 10 hours, I think, they called me. We like this case, we want to take it. Then it got media attention. And it made newspapers all over the country, WorldNet Daily. We had, I think, one of the TV stations in my hall, in the park in my home. Tom Moore was in there. And then we filed the suit officially in early July, more media. And then we actually had a hearing while we were at camp. And Reverend Kraft came with me and a few others. We left here, I think, 5 in the morning. Yeah. Got to the federal courthouse in Boston. The judge that presided over the hearing was also the same one that presided over Whitey Bulger's, an Obama appointee. We knew we weren't going to prevail at this point, and that made national news. And with that, we got some negative things. You know, one guy went to my Facebook page and did something, suggested I do something with the flag that would be physically impossible. He called it a fascist flag, and I've been trying to scare me. I said, this only encourages me. So don't threaten me. Don't leave me messages and nasty stuff. That only encourages. If you want to discourage me, don't say anything. Right. You want to encourage me, go ahead and vilify me. That only encourages me. I posted that little screenshot, and I had more people say, hey, Hal, we'll get your back. You need some help, just give us a call. I get groups here and group there. I said, I know you do, and I may have to do that. So the case is pending. We hope to get a date at the end of the month sometime, but I made up some of these little postcards, though, encouraging people to mail these to elected officials with Bible verses on them. Or maybe the sermon that was given by John, the founder of Boston, John Winthrop. John Winthrop, thank you.
City on a Hill.
City on a Hill, which is inscribed on Boston Common. So please avail yourself of these, and just to put just a postcard. We need help promoting our camp, getting more people involved, starting other camps. So I have promotional flyers for next year's camp. and they're there to take. I have much more. If you have a billboard, bulletin boards in your area, a place to put this where a lot of people see it, and people will rip them down, that's okay, you put them back up. So take a whole bunch of them, right? And you can also, you can download them from our website too. Some other projects, you might want to put the camera on this one. A friend of mine down in Connecticut, Bill Brown, is involved with a group called Save the Persecuted Christians. And they have 24 of these banners, different countries, and discussing what's happening. So he loaned me just one for illustration, the things that are happening. And most churches won't even talk about this.
Right.
They'll talk about relationships and feeling good, and we don't want to offend anybody. Our precious 501c. Is 501c3 in the Bible? I haven't seen that. You're so worried about hurting people's feelings. Well, we better start hurting people's feelings. We're going to save our country. So I saw this and I said, we need to do something out here in New England. So we would probably like to purchase a whole set of these, and they're all self-contained. It does a very good job of, the stand and all. Put these not just in churches, but public venues. And I've been getting a hold of my city councilor, Matt O'Malley. He's in Boston. He's a so-called progressive. I posted pictures of these on his Facebook page. I screenshot how long would it take, and they were gone within an hour. I said, last summer you had a display, the City Hall had a display in Boston about fighting Islamophobia, and they had pictures of area Muslims. I'm not in favor of harassing anybody. I think we can talk to witness to them, but you don't call them names, and that's very, only a handful of people have done that, and it's a bad thing to do. I said, well, that's very commendable. Now how about putting the display here at City Hall Plaza and this? Than the crickets. But if more people got it, just one crank from West Roxbury, but if more people did it, what about your town hall? What about your school? What about your private school? What about your social? You belong to a Rotary Club. It's just a way to get people to come and want to see these, and we'll have a little presentation. And then so if you want, contact me about that, and we'll make it happen. You see the pro-life flag back here? Some of you can put the camera. I had that custom made very inexpensively, 4x8. Well, until this case is resolved, I'm not interested in contacting the city, but any other group, a pro-life group, a church group, a patriot group, can say, hey, we'll get that permit, and we'll raise that flag on the anniversary of that infamous unconstitutional decision called Roe versus Wade. Or maybe a flagpole in your neighborhood, in your town. You can make these up. I used, I can tell you, I could give you the contact information, but there are a lot of companies that make, all made in USA. A very simple but powerful message, red, white, and blue, pro-life. We have to take back the culture. You know why we're losing the culture? Because most of us are sitting on our hands complaining. Oh, ain't it awful? Oh, by the way, there was I heard people who deny climate change. Look at, here it is, early December, and we're already in deep winter here in
Where's
Pittsfield,
the global
right?
warming when you need it?
Well, they call us climate deniers. But they're the same people that say, well, you deny science, but there's 50 genders. You're biology deniers. So let's use that term when they start, oh, you're a bigot and hate. I'm not a bigot. I don't hate anybody. I might hate some things that you do. I don't hate you personally. But don't tell me that you're a man yesterday and you're a woman today. I knew a person up in Vermont, Kieran, in the mid-90s. And I liked Kieran. Kieran wasn't fooling me. He had a very poor gender reassignment surgery. But Karen was a libertarian-minded person, and anyway, I haven't seen Karen or heard from Karen in a long time. I went online to see what was going on. He had passed away 4 years ago, and it was sad. He had fathered 5 children. In 1989, he decided he was no longer a Frank. He was now Karen. And he divorced his wife, and he married a woman. I says, well, wait a minute now. Is that a transgender lesbian? I mean, it's just crazy nonsense. And we had to sit there and, okay, we just kind of nod our heads and say, let's accept it. We can't accept it. It's wrong.
It's wrong.
So anyway, you can visit our website. And this was designed to be an auction fundraiser. I'm able to do this full time because of the wonderful people that support us. We need more support, and we'd like to get this guy. This man is a national treasure, and unfortunately, he has to work in a factory. We don't want him working. We want him working. We want him out here doing his thing. We want more people out. So we do encourage people to help us financially. There's time, treasure, and talent, and we have a lot of that. We want to be able to create more camps. It would be nice if we had our own camp like this.
Amen.
So we wouldn't have to worry about finding a venue every year. We would have it every year. One of the best ways to help is through our on our website we have a PayPal button, and we would prefer monthly donations, even as much as $5 or $1. I mean, if of every Facebook friend of mine, I've got 3,000. They all gave $1 a month. There's a lot we can do, and we're doing some important work. Last June, we donated 1,200 constitutions to this Manchester, New Hampshire school committee, and we offered to instruct, because the constitutions are great, but without the right instruction. Our YouTube channel is closing in on 1 million views. Our instructor here last session, Debbie Baxter-Galuppi, who's from California with a wildfire. She's from that area. She's a rancher. She's someone that you need to contact too, by the way. Her video, her class you did here, we had 100 people in the room, but we're close to 25,000 views just in the last couple of weeks, because people want the truth. Willie Soon, Professor Soon's class he gave last year, you watch that, it's the first class. You can hear this hearty laugh, that's the Rev laughing at some of Willie's humor. 140,000 views. Just about 2 weeks ago, a Canadian left-wing group, online group, trashed us. They said, we have notorious climate deniers at our camp.
I'm glad they noticed.
I'm glad they noticed too. So the bad guys are taking notice.
Right.
So again, we encourage you to help out. Some people make monthly donations through the through the PayPal account. Some people can donate. We actually have the Sam Blumenfeld Foundation, which I became president of, and that's a 501c3. So if you want to make donations through there, you can do that. And any way you can help us, we appreciate it. We have a speakers bureau. And you go to our website, you see the list of speakers we have. Get us out on the road. And so I want to thank you, and I want to wish everyone here a very Merry Christmas. And I want to close by a comment that Reverend Kraft makes. He has some great witticisms. He would say in his beautiful sing-songy preacher style, he said, the next time someone says to you, Happy Holidays, you ask them what holiday you're so happy about.
Amen. You happy
All right,
holidays.
so God bless, and we'll see you down the road. Thank you.
Amen. Amen.
Thank you.
Amen.